Dear Perceptive Reader, this is James Lynch, and this is also a consulting moment, okay? Please take this following information as just FYI and in general, okay? Um, you don't even have to um, try to figure out any type of scenarios or what have you, because if there are some, then I'll just mention just as a learning point, okay? And also, I want to make the statement that people say from time to time. uh, my name is James. I have not changed. And also, I'm just certainly personality wise, I'm just not for everyone. It doesn't mean that I strive to be rude or anything of that nature. No, no, no. I believe in protocols of saying hello, Mr., Mrs., Miss, or what have you, lady, young lady, gentleman. All those terms, depending on the environment that I'm going in, I will use. It shows you see the proper respect, a formality to it. And then, you probably have a person or two that you're close with, that whatever y'all do together or something, you can drop all the formalities. It doesn't mean that you are letting your familiarity breed contempt, because this is what they say. If you know a person for too long, that's something that humans will have to fight with. But no, you literally just understand that person. And so you have a way of talking with one another, sharing information at times without all the formalities or what have you. And yet there's this feeling, this understanding, you see, that you really do have with that person. And that same type of feeling and understanding, depending on different projects. You see, I know, see, talking about giving you an example, I think about referencing back even to the school years for persons. There would be projects at times where the teacher would sign you up with a person. This happened, in science class, biology, and things of that nature. A person you at first didn't bit more know, we used to say, didn't know from Adam. Okay. Yet, when the teacher placed you with that person that was either next to you, because sometimes it was just in alphabetical order, you know what I mean? Well, the project could literally take the experiment more than a week or two of you all working together. And, at the end of that type of experience, some persons actually became pretty decent friends after that. People who didn't speak to one another beforehand now would wave to one another. Sometimes it was actually a popular kid with an unpopular kid. But from that point forward, you probably didn't see them eating lunch together. No, or what have you. Uh, but I tell you what, you could still, from time to time, uh, catch them in some other type of environment, making small chit chat. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Even though it wasn't sitting down directly at the lunch table. Now, why am I sharing all this with you? Because I want to emphasize again, you may say your personality is just not for everybody, or your vision, your goals, or what have you, are just your own. You see what I'm saying? And yet, one thing that school classroom environment actually still went on to show, that people who could, in other situations, really have no common denominator at all, you see, uh, depending on what the project or the situation is, they can actually develop one. They can develop a common denominator. They can develop a foundation. And all around the world, I want to emphasize this, you have people working together every day who still, have their major differences, if you will, their culture, their background. That's what I want to emphasize. So, keeping that in mind, this is the statement that I want to make. Okay, this is the statement that I want to make. Um, and that's why I say I'm speaking in general, But this is what I've learned as well. You know, be respectful, be formal. And yet, the reality is not all advice that, someone will give to you. Uh, you can even use another word, counsel or what have you. That just because it actually was spoken about whatever source, it doesn't always mean that it applies to you, or that it really is even a situation where it was something that you had to learn. It was really just still based on their experience or opinion, you see. And there are some situations where, seriously, it may work for this individual in this way or that way. But guess what? There were factors, there were resources. You see what I'm saying? There were connections that this person may have already developed or had or were hidden or what have you. That, yeah, uh, they can do this. They can state this or that in this way. But you know what? With your circumstances, with your background, it don't bit more apply to you at all, even though they'll tell you to do it. Do you want some specific examples? There's one that that I've used. And see, and look, and the more that I'm thinking about it, I'm almost like, I don't know if I want to use it now, because this one has been an eye opener for some persons, and yet it really, um, I don't know if you want to call it prick some consciences in the others. Or put it this way, they just didn't like the example that I gave. So let me, so even though this is the one that I want to use, let me see if I can think of another one. Maybe I should just start this over, you know. But see, it would prove my point of what I was just saying. Um, that okay, let me use another one. For example, uh, maybe your training, your schooling, you see what I'm saying? Your background is you specialize in this area. See, that's what you trained for. That's your expertise, or what have you. And if I was to liken you to, okay, you got a fish over here in the pond, okay, and then you got a monkey, or over there. And if you tried to have a race and say whoever can climb up the top of that tree, you see what I'm saying? Those factors, that criterion, that you see what I'm saying, that even that being able to judge in that situation just doesn't apply. You just can't. Judge. You see how a fish is going to climb a tree when the fish wasn't meant to even do that. You see, yeah, I'm sure you heard that example before, and I just thought I would bring it out now to tell you there are really situations again today where people are just really doing what they're supposed to do. Their heart, their motivation, the way that they deal with one another and things of that nature. And what I mean by that is it doesn't mean that you're actually, doing something to hurt another individual on purpose. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about in general. There's ways that people literally have to function, and the thing about it is somebody may say that, I'm gonna bring this to a close here real soon. Somebody may say that this person needs to do this or to do that, and you really need to look at your situation and see if it applies to you sometimes, because it won't. And I'm just going to give you one example without going into detail, okay? But it was a man that actually spoke on this. His name was James Baldwin. James Baldwin was an author, writer. He was also a spiritual person that I think he did teach the Bible as well. And yet, see, which we won't even go into one way or the other, um, people's views, because he was also known to have a certain preference, okay? A certain preference. And some of you know what I mean when I talk about preference at times. All the same, just to give you something to meditate on as you look up James Baldwin. But see, he gave the situation for himself and for that time, which had or carries a lot of validity. And see, and that's why he would even make the point at times, the same way that, let me use another person, that even Martin Luther King has spoken before, when people would tell certain individuals they need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. And he had issue with that statement because he knew the situation of saying, how can you pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you don't even, and the person don't even have any shoes, so to speak. You see what I'm talking about? Um, and that's the situation, the way that this system is today. The system is already geared towards telling you that you're wrong or you're incorrect, no matter how perfect you are, no matter what type of saint you may be. That's why it still doesn't deals with the intentions of your heart and whether your actions is to still tear down somebody else or to leech off of them, you see, without their permission or even without their knowledge. And so, what I mean by that is, uh, we are to be good to our neighbors and things of that nature, but sometimes our actions can go on to show that, this is unacceptable. And even though this was a way of getting around the world, so to speak, this was a way of being able to make connections or what have you, to actually take full advantage of a person like that, then no, then that's not good. Um, and so I just want to mention that, see, somebody might confront you on this way or that way or something. And all I want to still just emphasize is, what has your heart intention been? What do you strive to do? I've talked about we strive to be better persons, better human beings. And if we're doing something, to actually take an unfair or unjust gain from somebody else, you see what I'm saying? Then we don't want to do that. Okay? Then we don't want to do that. So I just wanted to tell you that. And always wishing the best for you. um, for you readers and listeners, you gain some type of value from this, and you have a very wonderful day. Take care.